Hey you guys, this is Superstar0717. You'll see in front of you, I have another variation of the deck. After another week of testing, the deck has changed a little bit. So we're going to start out with the creatures. We're running 26 creatures still. And for the most part, everything's the same. You'll see we're still running the 4/4 Wolfbitten Captive and Young Wolf. Wolfbitten Captive is just putting in crazy work against control. Being able to tap down all your mana to bring them up to 6/6 is really, really awesome, especially since you'll have bonuses from Immerwolves and Mayors and things like that. He really becomes a really potent threat, and if they Vapor Snag him, you can always just drop him again. It's not a huge loss of tempo to get him Vapor Snagged, etc., etc. He also puts a lot of pressure since they probably will usually have a turn 1 play like a Ponder, things like that. So you'll usually be able to use his +2/+2 ability if you don't have things such as FMR or Mayor or even another Young Wolf or a Wolfbitten Captive. Young Wolf has been doing pretty good. You'll see I'm running some different cards. I wanted basically to make the deck where if they either Vapor Snag it or Gut Shot it or things like that, I won't lose too much tempo. And you'll see that I'm not running Instigator Gang anymore. We'll get to that in a second, but basically Young Wolf, you can drop him turn 1, very similar to Doom Traveler. If for some reason they wanted to Vapor Snag him, if you don't know what Vapor Snag is, let me look it up real quick for you. Vapor Snag. It returns target creature to its owner's hand. Its controller loses 1 life, 1 blue for an instant. If they reset him with a Vapor Snag, that's awesome. If they Gut Shot it, things like that, he will get past it, which they shouldn't be Gut Shotting it. Things like that, he survives sweepers and board wipes, things like that. Excellent card for a 1-drop, becomes a 2/2, possibly plus, XX, depending on how many Immerwolves you have or Flip Mares you have. So we're still running the 4 Mares, pretty obligatory in the deck. And you'll see that the first change to the deck, we're running 4 Strangleroot Geists. Like I said, I really wanted to make this deck a real fast-paced aggro deck. Putting a lot of pressure early on and then dropping your bomb late game to win. With Strangleroot Geist for 2 green, it has haste and undying. It's 2/1, and this card just like wrecks the control matchup. If you can drop this turn 2. You'll be able to put in some pretty good amount of damage before they'll really be able to do much. And with that being said, it's just awesome. I've been testing against control and things like that. And this card is just significantly better. In the slot, I was running, I believe it was the 3 Instigator Gang and the additional Daybreak Ranger. And ever since I've added in this card, my win percent against control has increased pretty significantly. If they Vapor Snag, let's say you've turned 4, you tap down for Instigator Gang, you drop him, he's in human form obviously. You can attack with all your other creatures, they'll get +1/0, etc., etc. But they can still Vapor Snag it. And when they Vapor Snag it, you literally have to wait another turn, untap your mana, drop a land, tap 4, bring them out again. They can mana leak it, they can do so many things to it, it's just so vulnerable when it comes out. With Vapor Snag, they're not going to Vapor Snag your Strangleroot Geist or your Young Wolf, unless they have not used their Undying effects. If they have, they might do it just to get it out of the way so they can attack you. But with Strangleroot Geist, even if they do, you can just drop it next turn and go back to swinging with it. It's a great card. Pick them up right now. They're only, I think, like $1 for 25. Not a bad price. I think I got my playset for like $4 shipped. So definitely go ahead and check those out for the deck. We are running a heavy green line, obviously, to fit in the overruns. So the Strangleroot Geist fits in there quite nicely. Now, I think I dropped 1 Daybreak Ranger from the last build. I really liked him at 3, and I still think he is good enough to be a 3 of if you didn't want to run Geist. Maybe even a 4 of with all the white-black tokens coming out with this card right here. See, I love this little interface so I can just look up cards. For Lingering Souls, for 2 mana and a white, it puts 2 1/1 white spirit creatures on tokens onto the battlefield, and then you flash it back for a white and a black, and it brings in 2 more. So theoretically, for 3 colorless, a white and a black, you can bring out 4 spirit creatures. So with that being said, spirit creatures are going to be huge with Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, White-black tokens already have Midnight Haunting, so it effectively gives them 4/8, basically like 12 copies of Midnight Haunting, if you really think about it. So flyers are a huge problem for this deck. You'll see pretty much everything that we have is on the ground. Actually, everything we have is on the ground. So Daybreak Ranger has an extremely relevant day effect to deal 2 damage to target creature with flying, and on the night side it can flip and fight any creature you want. And so with that being said, I did like him at a 3/0, but I think Strangleroot Geist gave me a little bit better tempo for the deck, and I liked it a little bit better. So we're still running the 4 Immerwolf and the 4 Huntmaster. Huntmaster is also another way to deal with, or another good card against Vapor Snag. Right now the 2 main defining cards of my meta at least are Vapor Snag and Gutshot. And these guys just wreck both of those cards. With Huntmaster, if they Vapor Snag him, you don't really lose too much tempo because you still get your 2/2 green wolf creature either way. You'll gain that 2 life again, so basically whenever you recast him, you're getting another green wolf creature, and you're gaining another 2 life. And this guy is just amazing. If you can get 1 or 2 of these on the board against control, and you know, have him flip, he is just devastating. He'll do, you know, 4 damage whenever he flips, 4 damage to a creature, 4 damage to their life. When he flips back, he'll give you 2 wolf tokens and generate 2 life. And so he is just fantastic. I know some of the suggestions were saying to run Garruk Relentless, and I do think Garruk is a good card, Garruk Relentless, but right now, every time that I've ever tested him, it was like such a pain to, you know, to keep him alive, to use his ability the right way. You know, you got to defend him, you can let them attack. For example, if they're going to attack me, that's fine. I'll let them tap out to attack me, but if they're going to attack my Planeswalker that I've invested 4 mana in, I want to chump block it with something to let it survive, obviously. And it was just too vulnerable for me. I do like it. It's a good card. It combos extremely well with Young Wolf and, well, actually just Young Wolf, because you can use his first ability to deal 3 damage to Young Wolf, and then Young Wolf will flip him over. But I just really didn't like Garruk whenever I ran it. If you did want to run it, you could just go ahead and put in 2 Garruk Relentless over the 2 Overruns, and you'd probably still have a pretty solid deck. For me, I still like the Overruns. I mean, it's just crazy what it can do for you. Basically, for 5 mana, you win the game if you have a decent field. Obviously, you have problems drawing at turn 1, but I guess you could say the same about Garruk since it is a 4-drop. And with that being said, if I was going to run Garruk, I'd run it at 2, maybe take out something. I don't even know what I would take out. I tested it twice this past week. I proxied it, and I tested it all after Innistrad, and I just never liked it. But of course, you know, more testing needs to be done with the deck, and with this deck list, it will be my first FNM with this deck, with the DKA cards. We're still running the 2 Moonmist. I tried it at 3 for a little bit, but when I put in Strangleroot Geist, I went ahead and cut it back to 2 because I was still, now there's 4 creatures that are literally unaffected by it, and then there's a total of 12 creatures that won't transform. And with the Immerwolf, they're not really transforming as often as they used to. So still running 2 of those. Still really loving the 2 Brimstone Volley. You know, chump block with a Young Wolf and then hit him for 5 is always nice. Things like that. Once again, Overrun, a good finisher. For the enchantments, we're running 4 FMR still. Obviously, we're not running as many werewolves right now. And the thing you could do would probably be to run 3 Full Moon's Rise and a Daybreak Ranger. If you really wanted to, if you felt like 4 was too many. But I like 4. It's always a good 2-drop, or a good turn 2-drop or turn 3-drop. And it really solidifies your board. I run 4, not so that I can play 4, but so that I can make sure I see at least 1 or 2 a game to prevent against board wipes. For the lands, we're running 4 Rootbound Carg and Copperline Gorge, 5 mountains and 11 forests. Now 5 mountains seems like quite a bit. The only real red cards are Brimstone Volley, Immerwolf, and Huntmaster, and the Night Side of Daybreak Ranger. But you do want to have them there so that you consistently, if you needed to, hit the turn 3 Brimstone, the turn 3 Immerwolf, the turn 4 Huntmaster, the turn 3 red to give Daybreak Ranger his fight mechanic, and I do run some red cards in the sideboard. So this is the first look of the new sideboard for this deck. And like I said earlier, this is the complete list I'll be bringing to FNM. I'll probably update you guys Thursday night, and just to confirm that I am still bringing this deck unless there's some major changes or any changes at all. And so we're starting off with 2 Ancient Grudge. You know, there's different enchantment decks out there. Not enchantment, excuse me. Artifact decks with lots of equipments. What's it called? Invisible Stalker decks are really annoying. And, you know, the artifacts that they pack on him make him literally like a god. Things like that. Just a lot of artifacts that you want to get rid of really fast. And with this being an instant for 1 colorless and 1 red, and flashback of just green, it's really a perfect card for this deck. You can, you know, literally just really control what they're doing in that matchup, and it's tested pretty well so far. I haven't tested too extensively against that deck, but I do plan to a little bit more later this week. My meta is full of, blue-red Delver, and things like that, with and different Invisible Stalker decks, and there's still the occasional Tempered Steel player ever since Worlds, and so this handles that quite nicely. We're running 2 Beasts Within. There's a lot of decks that can operate extremely well off of 1 certain color source. There's a new 4 or 5 color control deck going around in my meta, and they really rely on, you know, having certain lands that produce different colors, and they run multiple, I would say they run like 7 or 8 types of lands to facilitate that, and so Beast Within's a pretty good card. Give them a 3/3 Beast token, but kind of shut down what they're doing on their side. And it's just a general all-around good card, you know, get rid of Planeswalkers and things like that. O-rings, etc., etc. And so just a good utility card for that. Nod of the Bone, against red deck wins and other aggro decks, this really helps you race, like, ridiculously. Let's say you have 3 or 4 creatures in your graveyard, gain 8 life, flash it back, gain another 8 life, 16 life right there for 1 card. It's a really sweet card. I really suggest you try it out if you haven't. It's won me like really like a crap ton of games against red deck wins and different aggro decks, because they think they'll have you and they'll, you know, run out of gas, and you can play this, bring your life back up to 20 or near 20, and then proceed to wreck some shop. And it's an instant, which really fits in with the theme of the deck real nicely. You'll see most of my side deck are all instant, so that really helps out, you know, not playing down that mana on your turn. And that's another reason why I don't like Kessig Wolfrun. You do leave all this mana open for, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 instants in the sideboard, and 2, 4, 6, or excuse me, 2, 4, so 16 instants. You like to keep that mana open, and you don't want to risk it, you know, pumping 4 mana to give a creature like +1 and trample. That's just retarded. So we're running 3 Arc Trail. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of Delver decks in my meta, and so dealing 2 damage to a flip Delver and then 1 damage to an unflipped Delver is always nice, especially against humans. This is really nice. They do ramp pretty quickly, and they get into those 1/1s that really just get huge, and so dealing with them early is always nice, even if it puts you back a turn. It's always good to just get rid of that threat and then be able to push for game later on. Now this card is an interesting card. I didn't really read about this card. I had a subscriber tell me about this card in a message. This is just an amazing card. This is the newest addition to the sideboard. It says fresh meat for 3 and then green instant. Put a 3/3 Put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield for each creature put into the graveyard from the battlefield this turn. So if you didn't have, say, an FMR, or they O-ringed your FMR, something like that, and then they nuked your board, you can drop this and effectively recover almost instantly. I love that aspect of this. You know, if they try to Alpha Strike you and you don't have a Moonmist, you just chump block with everything, play this, bring out a bunch of beast tokens, and then just proceed to win the game next turn. I think it's just awesome, all the different utilities that you can do with this card. And 3/3 green beast tokens are huge right now. I mean, just in general, they're just really awesome. You know, 3/3 is a pretty decent body in this game, and getting the ability to generate multiples of that for 4 mana is just amazing. Naturalize, you know, O-ring is a problem, things like that, different enchantments, and so this helps you handle those quite nicely for 1 and a green. Obviously, you don't get as much utility out of it with Ancient Grudge, but there will be times when this is better, and if that ever comes to it, I'll probably switch the numbers around: 2 Naturalize and 1 Ancient Grudge. But for now, 2 and 1 is working out pretty nicely. And lastly, Incinerate. There's a lot of 3 toughness creatures in the meta that are really problematic. One of them is Olivia Volderon, the 3/3. Really big deal. It's flying and it takes control of your werewolves, which is never good, so save up your mana, nuke it when it comes out in the field, and you won't really have a big problem after that. There's other things that this deck has trouble dealing with right now, which I do need to kind of, figure out ways to deal with it. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where it is. For example, Mirian Crusader, protection from black and green. Obviously, a huge majority of our deck is green, so we run those Incinerates and things like that, the Arc Trails if they're not pumped, to get rid of him. But honestly, this is probably one of the cards that I'm afraid to really go against the most right now, because hitting for 4 every turn or more is just not fun. Obviously, we do have cards that can block him, or actually, no, we don't. We really don't on the main board. We just have the Brimstone Volleys and the Arc Trails to block him. And that was one of the things I kind of regretted from switching from Instigator Gang, was that you really lost the way to effectively deal with Mirian Crusader. But obviously, that's what the sideboard's for. Of course, we'll figure out more cards that are better against him later. And if you guys have any suggestions for the sideboard for Mirian Crusader, just let me know. I'd really appreciate that. Now let's just go here to the graphs. You'll see my CMC graph right here. Running 8 1-drops, 14 2-drops, 8 3-drops, 4 4-drops, and 2 5-drops. There's a mana curve right there, the color distribution. 3/4 of the deck is green, and then about 1/4 is either gold or red. For the card mana symbols, 42 forests and 10 mountains. There's creature breakdown, and yeah, basically that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate all the new subscribers out there. Appreciate all the return subscribers who keep watching the videos and posting on them and gave me suggestions. There was one card that a subscriber told me about. Let's see if I can find it right here. Here we go. It's called Nightbird Clutches. I'll put an annotation to your username. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But I do think this card has some pretty good utility for the deck. There are Warp Coil engines that are a huge problem for this deck. Cards like Mirian Crusader. And Nightbird Clutches, you just target them, they can't block you, and you get in some nice free hits with that. The flashback is pretty cheap, 3 in a red, do it again, and I really like that about this card. And of course, obviously, it needs to be tested in the deck. I haven't had time to really go out and test Nightbird's Clutches yet, but I do plan to, probably at my FNM when I'm not busy, in a round or anything like that. So this is the deck. Real quick, give you guys a last final look at it. I'll post the card list down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Rate, comment, subscribe.